At the edge of a growing city, where paved roads slowly fade into dust, someone finds an open piece of land and decides to build, not because it is theirs, but because they have nowhere else to go. Soon others arrive, a family searching for shelter, a worker chasing opportunity. One house becomes two, two become many, and before long, what was once empty land begins to look like something else, a community. Small shops appear on corners, life takes shape. But while the community grows, the services never come. This new community, alongside the main road in and out of a city, has no clinics, no clean water, no electricity. The roads are only footpaths, and when night falls, it is no longer safe to walk. Still, people stay, because this is home.
Okuisa kwa ife bonse twaishirenga masquatters. Umulandu wakubulisho kwa kuikala no upina bw'abantu. Nenchende kwaleba kwebata bade fuma mabuchi tibambera ko bunte kumakwacha kwaleba tinchendemo ni 12 by 25 but mwalasa ngo kwebata makebin pali main house baba na makebin nangwali 4 ero balebo msha toilet imu.
Then one day the message arrives. The land was never theirs. It belongs to a wealthy man who now wants it back. But the people living here have already built their lives, their homes, their future. So they organize, they resist, and they demand recognition.
We have done so much for Kitwe. What we deserve is a pat on the back. And the pat on the back is to legalize this place.
And when election season comes, politicians suddenly remember them, because even if the settlement is not on official maps, its votes still count. This is the story of Luyando, a growing community on Zambia's copper belt, fighting for recognition, land rights, and the basic services every community deserves. Across Zambia, informal settlements are growing rapidly. Housing demand continues to rise, but planning systems have struggled to keep pace.
Informal settlements are basically a manifestation of systemic failures. The system failed somewhere, and something had to fit into that failure, because the government should be able to understand the demand of the public goods that the citizens need. And currently, from the 2020 National Housing Policy, the government was supposed to deliver at least 222,000 housing units annually, but that has never happened. The highest that the Republic has been able to deliver is about 73,000 housing units annually. And then out of those 73,000 housing units, only 40% meet the minimum required standards for adaptability and adequacy for human habitation, which means 60% falls below par. And what does that mean? Again, that simply means things have failed.
Without proper planning, many of these communities face deep and persistent challenges.
There are lots of vulnerabilities that children and women are experiencing. Vulnerabilities such as inadequate service of inadequate delivery of public services, mainly water and sanitation related services. There's also a lot of teenage pregnancies, a lot of SGBV cases going on in the community.
Luyando is a clear example of what happens when communities are left to plan for themselves.
We have been doing it by ourselves, by God's will, because God provided the guidance.
I think there is need for even our civic planners to be proactive than reactive. Because when you look at Luyando started at the verge where people were led to do things on their own. And now when there's been population explosion, that is when the town planners are trying to go in when it's too late.
When communities are excluded from planning processes, it often makes an already difficult housing situation even harder.
You will find that you'll be addressing issues which are not even issues to the people.
Take this dumping site in Luyando. It was supposed to be located 2 kilometers away from homes. Today, it sits in the middle of the community.
In fact, I'm close to the place where I'm standing. It's just about 8 meters away from my own plot. But to my surprise, I've seen this garbage heaping up very quickly. I've done the reports to the authorities, even to the DC. I've reported several times over the same site here, the garbage site. It's a hazard to the human health. Twamiromba twapapata twafukama tubeleleni koluse tulipano tulelila tulelomba kuli nimwe ntungulu shitwasala mwe ntungulu shesu.
Yet authorities tell a different story about how the dumping site came to be where it is.
The garbage disposal site or the dump site has been there before the compound came about, before the informal settlement was established. So for now, what is being presented there is a situation where the road, particularly with the onset of the rain season, has become impassable. And so we have cases where trucks have been getting stuck. And so the fear of those that are actually collecting garbage and taking it for disposal are failing to go beyond that point, because obviously the vehicles will get stuck. Kitwe alone generates about 840 tons of garbage per day, and 25 of that is collected.
Urban experts say that when planning cities, some principles cannot be ignored.
One is security of tenure, is an important ingredient to informal settlements in the long term. And then we also see that it is important that community participation and co-design is taken into account in an early stage. Community participation is critical in that the people who are there, they know what's best for them, and they are the best people to give an input into interventions that you are thinking of. In situ incremental upgrading is another principle which is important. You do not necessarily need to remove people or to move people around. You let the improvement process take place as the people are in their locations incrementally.
Planning for a just city requires deliberate, inclusive action, bringing communities into decisions that shape their future.
For anything to be meaningful, especially to the communities in need, you need to ensure that you actually create a platform that allows the participation of these communities.
Shifting toward more inclusive planning does not happen overnight.
It was difficult at first, and it is in a learning phase where the council at first thought that our interest was to be confrontational in engaging the city council, especially on issues which they are not delivering. And now they have come to an understanding that we are social partners, and we can work together to ensure that as urban development is taking place, we bring in the software of social justice and ensuring that the grassroots voices are heard, and we have always been engaging the Kitwe City Council together with the Luyando community.
But progress is slowly emerging. Authorities are beginning to recognize that communities must be part of the decision-making process.
Initially, the council was on its own, then the public are also on their own. We're now seeing a complete shift in terms of how we involve and engage the public to actually be the champions of their destiny, and also be able to prioritize the kind of services they want delivered in their areas of jurisdiction. So when we put the people first as strategic partners, then you begin to see development taking place in a city that speaks to the needs, of the people themselves.
For the people of Luyando, the hope is simple, that one day their community will be recognized. not as a problem, but as a place where people live, work, and belong.
Our participation will make sure that the human right, one is respected to the people of Luyando. And we are always trying to ensure that Luyando is given the necessary attention it deserves.
As you can see, this is right now a bush. But once it developed, I can assure you, my vision says it will even be a tourist attraction.